Hello and welcome to Deborah Hanson Read with me. I'm Deborah Hanson, and today we're going to do a quick summary of chapters 12 and 13 of Chains by Laurie Halse Anderson. So these are just basically quick summaries, just what I call like in a nutshell. If you want a little more in-depth analysis, you can listen to my full read-alongs on my channel. And at the end of each chapter, I'll do a summary. And then sometimes during the chapter also, I'll stop and talk about what's going on. So if you're having a hard time with the book, just follow along with your book, and then you can hear how I would do it in my classroom. And then at the end, a little bit of a review. But this is just one of those really quick, maybe I forgot to read, maybe I have a quiz, maybe I need to do a book talk right now. So this is kind of a quick summary for you. Okay. Here we go. So chapter 12. So basically after Madame fainted, Becky sent Isabel to get Lady Seymour. She's still really upset about everything that's happening. Eli was in jail, and so she's quite freaked out. So anyway, she found Lady Seymour's house really easily because of the red door with the heart-shaped knocker. So that was kind of easy for her. Isabel's really surprised at how nice Lady Seymour is to her. She even offers her food. She sits her down. She talks to her like a person, which we know is not happening at the Lochtons' house. So it's kind of a little bit of a change of scenery for her. Anyway, so Isabel tells Lady Seymour that Madame has ordered that her bags be packed because she's going to leave. She doesn't want to be there. But Lady Seymour tells Isabel that that'd be a terrible idea because it's just going to make them look guilty. And anyway, so that they're going to take all their possessions and the rebels will take everything. So she really discourages it. Anyway, what she does is she writes a little note to Isabel and to give to the lawyer, and one for Madame Lochton, basically trying to calm everybody's nerves. And she uses her connections to get Elihu out of jail. So a couple good quotes from this chapter. If you need some quotes for either an analysis or anything that you need quotes for, here you go. So the first one is they've been hunting loyalists all day. I told Anne it would come to this. Come inside, child. Isabel, is it not? So that's on page 74 in the book that I was reading. So if your book is not the same book, it'll be close. So it'll be around there, obviously in chapter 12. So I don't blame her, but fleeing would ensure that the rebels would take everything. So page 79. So this is just her talking about, not leaving because of, the guilt that it would make them appear. I'll write a note for you to take to the lawyer's office before you go home, and another for Anne telling her that Elihu will be free soon. So there you go. That's on page 78. So those are some quotes from chapter 12 that might be useful if you're trying to support, if you're doing like a claim evidence reasoning paragraph, or you're trying to make a point of this chapter. Okay, so now we're going to go into chapter 13. So chapter 13 summary. So same idea, just in a nutshell, right? Mr. Lochton's freed from jail as promised by Lady Seymour, and the homecoming is kind of not all roses. But again, we already know that there's tension between Mr. and Mrs. Lochton, right? So they're not exactly, really friendly with each other all the time. The Lochtons have a huge fight. It includes a lot of shouting. Things are being thrown. It's just not really good. Then after the fight, Madame has a split lip, which of course she blames on Isabel, claiming that she slipped on wax from a candle that had dripped on the floor. So that, of course, easy to blame Isabel. But we know that Mr. Lochton beats Mrs. Lochton, because you remember in the earlier chapters when she had that bruise on her wrist, that was sort of foreshadowing to show that the relationship was not that great. So this is kind of how we see it again coming up. In the following weeks, Mr. Lochton met often with his loyalist friends, and Isabel has a code name for them now. She's relieved that the printer, who she refers to as Inkstain, has fled the country with his wife and kids. And this leads Elihu to believe that he was the one who told the Patriots about the money. So do you remember, we know that there's a mole. So there's somebody who's telling. So they don't know who that is yet, but obviously the plot is going to thicken here, and we're going to start to find out who's the traitor, who's telling on them. It was Isabel's job to fetch water from the water pump every day. And she liked this chore because it got her out of the house. And then remember that she would talk to the grandfather at the water pump, and she would sort of like get to leave some of the insanity that is happening in this house all the time. Okay, here's some good quotes for this one. It caused me to fall, she said. Do you see what your clumsiness has cost me? That's on page 80, and that's Miss Lochton referring to the wax that she slipped on after she split her lip. But we all know that she didn't fall. Gossip is the foul smell from the devil's backside. That's what Mama always said. I tried to ignore the wild stories and stay alert for something, anything I might use to secure our freedom. So we know this is Isabel's main objective in this story, is to secure freedom for her and Ruth. So she's always got her ears open. She's always listening, but she doesn't want gossip. She wants like real facts that she can bring to the Patriots and or the rebels and get them, get them some good information. I'm the grandfather of everybody and everything. He pushed down the handle of the pump and water flowed. Mind how you do, Missy. And that's her at the water pump with grandfather, who's giving her some advice because he's seen a lot and he's heard a lot. And he really does try to look out for them. So here's another one. Where you see smoke, you see fire, country. Don't worry. The day of our liberty will soon dawn. The country is going to be free and you and me with it. This is from Curzon's perspective and his views on what's going to happen once the Patriots sort of basically take the colonies away from the British. I planted the mystery seeds I had taken from Mama's jar. I did not know what they would grow into, but planting them deep in the cool dirt was a comfort. And the seeds are actually quite symbolic, right? Because that's a piece of her past. And the fact that she's putting them in the dirt and she doesn't know what is going to grow, it's a little bit like her future. She's planting these seeds, along the way herself by spying and by paying attention or by finding out information, and she doesn't know what's going to grow from that. So you can see this is kind of the seeds are symbolic of growth and not knowing what's going to happen. So that's a really important part of the story. Okay, and I think that is it. So that's the end for chapter 12 and 13. If you like my channel, please subscribe. I know my students really like to see the numbers go up. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. I answer everybody. Please be kind. I always say that because some people are not, unfortunately. But anyway, happy to answer any questions you have about the book. If you have any comments, please leave them. Thanks a lot and have a wonderful day. Thank you. Bye.